So to come back to the earlier conversation, don't you think younger generations are more informed?
No.
No? Why is that?
Young. Okay, so real quick, one thing about older generations is that they've been informed and then they stick to what they've been informed about, and they're not willing to learn new things generally. The thing about younger generations is like the people you really need to rely on for an educated vote are like, you know, uh, people roughly between the ages of like 25 to 41, somewhere in there.
So
That's normally the age
millennials,
group.
some part of it at least.
Part millennial or like young boomer, I guess. Anyone between the ages of like, I want to say about 25 to about 45 are more educated when they vote most of the time, in my opinion, because they're willing to do a lot more research and they've been educated and it immediately affects them. Whereas anybody under the age of 25, between anyone like anybody in the ages of 18 to 25, normally don't educate themselves on any political matters. They kind of just vote for whoever they say, like their friends say they're going to vote for, and they have no idea why. And they'll vote yes on laws and bills to be passed that they have no idea what they even do. Like every fucking 18-year-old and up just went out and voted yes on Prop 207 today, right?
Which is
Prop 207 is the proposition to legalize marijuana recreationally here in Arizona. So everyone every 18-year-old who is able to vote went out and voted on that shit today.
I hope they voted yes.
And they all voted yes.
Yeah.
They all voted yes, but that's what they went to vote for. And while they were there, they just kind of filled out the rest of their ballot to fucking say yes or no, yes, no, yes, no, like they were guessing on a multiple choice questionnaire.
Yeah, but the way to vote.
They did it uneducated. They did it uneducated. They only went to go vote on. They really only did it so they could go vote on like marijuana.
Well, at least they're participating. That's one thing we
They're
can't
participating in that. But the thing is, like, to vote for that, you had to fill out the ballot to vote for the president. And a lot of them don't fucking care, and they're just going to vote for whoever their friends say they're going to vote for. Like, oh,
So
I'm voting for Biden because my mom said so, and then another one says, oh, well, I'm voting for Trump because my dad says so.
I'm curious how you
but
reached
none of them
this
educated
conclusion.
themselves.
I'm curious, how did you reach these conclusions about?
Because that's how fucking 18-year-olds are.
That seems to rely on your view of those.
They don't do their own.
Yeah, how
they don't do
would
their
you know
own
that?
investigating.
How would you know that?
Because they don't. They're fucking idiots. Like I've literally had people
They
fucking
don't
ask
because
me,
they
"Hey,
don't.
what do you think about this?"
You literally have
Like,
what?
Yeah, I've met people who are like, "Well, I'm only voting this because I was told to by my fucking dad or my mom or some stupid bullshit answer." And it's like, dude, if you're not gonna fucking vote for yourself,
It's not because you met some
why are you here?
stupid ass young people that all young people are like that.
No, not all young people are like that, but I am saying a majority of them are fucking idiots because they're so young and they don't fucking care.
I would argue young people care way more than the other.
Well, that's the thing is like, no, I'm saying here in America, I don't know how it is over in France, but here in America, they're all fucking idiots.
Yeah, but you know, I know way more about America than France, so I'm basing kind of my judgment on what I think about young people in America.
There's like here in America, we have privilege, and we have a lot of it. You know, and don't let anybody tell you otherwise, but we have a lot of fucking privilege here in America, but it also makes people stupid because all they know is that they're going to vote for whatever their fucking parents say because that's what they've been doing their entire lives. All they know how to do is fucking do what they're told or be rebellious and do exactly what they're not told. And I can guarantee you there are people there are 18-year-olds who are like, oh, my mom's a Trump supporter and I don't like Trump. Okay, well, I don't like my mom, so I'm gonna go and vote for Biden instead of Trump, or vice versa, where my mom fucking likes my mom. I'm mad at my mom, and my mom's voting for Biden, so I'm gonna go vote for Trump. You know, they're not doing it because they have an educated vote or opinion on who they believe the fucking president should be. They're just doing it to spite
We
somebody
don't
else.
disagree on the idea that that kind of vote would be unproductive, but we disagree on the idea that this is the way they vote. I'm not sure this is the way they vote. I'm sure there is some people that are voting that way, and truthfully, I'm pretty sure there is some people above 25 that are voting that way. Well, not
Oh no, and
related
don't get me wrong. There are a lot of educated people who do vote, and they are of all ages. But for the most part, all these fucking kids these ages, like for the majority of them, so not all of them, but most of them are fucking idiots.
Yeah, I'm not sure about that. I'm not sure about that. I think we entered an era of information that is both good for young people, helping them to understand the world, and bad, because this is also a great era for disinformation.
Okay, but okay, look, there is information out there, yes, and they do absorb that information. But the thing is they don't fact check. They don't care. Right?
Yeah,
they rely on word of mouth, you know, because that's it. Or they rely on that fucking 3-second ad that they saw on YouTube.
That would be a lack of method, and I agree that many people today have a lack of method in getting the information.
Right, but young people are super susceptible to it, especially under the ages of 25, because they're all immature and they don't care. I mean, a majority of people under 25 don't even fucking vote because they haven't educated themselves on it, and they don't want to make the wrong decision or be a part of it. So I'd say, like, in my opinion, if you if you haven't educated yourself, don't vote. Let the people who have educated themselves vote. Because if you're going to vote for somebody, you need to educate yourself on why you're voting for them.
I don't necessarily disagree. Nonetheless, I would say that it's the right to everybody to vote, so you can't really take that away from them. You can always...
I'm not saying that they're not allowed to vote.
Yeah. But you're advising them. You're advising them to either inform themselves
on this stuff. I wouldn't vote.
Yeah, I understand. You advise to those people and to everyone, I would think, to either inform themselves or not vote. This is your
exactly. Well, yeah. I mean, okay. It's just like studying for a test.
Reasonable. This sounds.
But it's just like studying for a test. If you study and then you go and take your test, you know your answer.
Yeah.
All right. But if you don't study, all you're gonna do is you're gonna go and you're gonna put a fucking random dot in your multiple choice quiz fucking questionnaire, and you're just gonna hope you got the right one.
Yeah. Talking about that,
why would you hope for the right leader when you could like vote for the right leader, or at least who you believe is the right leader?
No, why you're picking this leader and
exactly. If you're gonna make a decision, you should be able to back it.
And talking about that, don't you think that the society we live in, I'm thinking personally the state, but many different organisms could do that, should do a little more about helping us understand politics, so we could make informed choices instead of having plenty of ignorant voters that vote whatever way for whatever reason.
Yes.
But I think this is the main problem. I agree that people don't get into politics as much as is needed, but I would say that politics needs to come to people, if I am understood saying that. It needs to make some effort for people to understand it. So, for example, your system of voting by proposition and all that, I've seen some vote it's very often that it's very complicated to have to understand which way you're voting by voting against or for a proposition, and this sounds uselessly complex as fuck when this could be very much easier. And this
dude, it could be a lot easier, but our fucking America's fucking full of idiots.
Yeah, but it's not made to be easy to understand either.
Well, no, and the thing is like back in the day, things used to be easy to understand, but nowadays, while we're voting for things, it's all fucking idiotic, stupid bullshit, and they rely on people not like educating themselves, so that way they can write a bill that says, okay, let's legalize marijuana, but also if this bill passes, this bill has to
Yeah,
pass,
yeah,
and in
yeah.
this bill that nobody else looks at, we're gonna hide a bunch of things in the
Mm,
fine print
yeah,
that's gonna completely fuck you your day when
they
you
do the
find out
same
about
in
it.
France. So you will vote for marijuana legalization and in the same time increase the taxes on poor people or some shit like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And see the Prop 207, it's got like, oh dude, marijuana is gonna be taxed like crazy out here if it passes. Or I think it did pass. I think we've already gotten the verdict on that. I think it did pass. So it's gonna be recreationally legal
Mm-hmm.
out here, which means
Which is good
people are
in
just gonna be able
itself.
to smoke it whenever,
Yeah,
just like drinking.
yeah.
And
I think that's good
so when
personally.
that, oh, I mean, I personally think it's good too. Like fucking right on. We've been pushing for it for years, but I'm not sure exactly how everything's. Oh, geez, there are a lot of fucking people out there.
If it can decrease the amount of person that are
Oh,
arrested
yeah.
for that and the amount of money that is spent to take care of those people when frankly that's useless, there are more important things to spend money on, I believe. I think that's a good thing.
Oh,
Now,
yeah, for sure. But that's what I was gonna say. Is there the tax on it is gonna be like 16 some odd percent.
oh, wow.
Yeah, and it's already expensive as shit. So like, because it's available medically and it's already expensive as shit. So it's just gonna get even more fucking expensive.
So also it's gonna be
And then they're
a
gonna tax it. I just got
luxurious
a fucking
product.
double kill.
Yeah, that fucked up a bit.
Oh yeah.
What was I going to say? Yeah, from what I've heard, when it's legalized, it really has gone down in price. It generally raised, but nonetheless, 60% seems fucked up. Uh, it all depends also where it's spent, because obviously nowadays we know that our taxes are often pretty poorly used. If at least if it was used for good stuff, maybe there would be less to argue about. If those taxes go straight to the military industrial complex or something like that, yeah. Did you vote yourself?
I did vote today.
All right. Trump or Biden?
I'm personally for Trump.
All right. Do you think he improved stuff in America?
I do, and I think we're better off under a Republican control, because like the Democrats keep trying to take a lot of our rights from us, and I'm talking about basic rights. And if they're not trying to take it from us, they're trying to make it like 10 times more difficult than it has to be to fucking be able to
Don't
do
you think
like regular
Republicans
everyday
are
things that
actively
we're
trying
used
to?
to.
Don't you think Republicans are actively trying to take rights from you?
Oh
Like,
no, but the rights that they're trying to take from me, I don't care about as much as the rights that they're trying to
yeah,
that
but you must also think for the
Democrats are
people.
trying to take from us.
They are trying to take rights for women to get an abortion. Are you against that?
No, I'm not against women getting an abortion. Like, if you're gonna get an abortion, you do you, boo.
Yeah, I think it's true.
It's not my body,
Plus
it's
it
not my
prevents
choice. I don't give a shit.
plus it prevents many infants to live in misery. That's true.
Exactly. So I agree with abortion. Like, I honestly would like to see more women be like, oh well, I'm gonna have this baby, but I'm gonna give it up for adoption.
Yeah, that still is a
But
huge
I
pressure on
mean,
the state
might as well
to.
just not have the baby all together. You know what I mean? Like I don't really care.
Yeah. There is also the right to protest that is in danger. That is in danger under Republican.
God damn it!
Under Republican administration, they are not very
Fuck.
pro-protest.
No. But the thing is like, it hasn't been taken from us yet, and that they've been talking about doing that for fucking years, and it normally comes around election time.
Yeah, but
So they can use it as like a voter's tactic to gain more voters. And then now after the election, they're going to talk about it for about maybe a year, and then it's going to disappear. And no one's going to talk about it until next election.
what is going to disappear?
The fucking taking abortion
All right.
from women.
I think if Trump wins, Mike Pence is going to do everything he can to take away the right of women's abortion. And I think it's more in danger right now is really your right to protest, because even though they are not talking about the right to protest in necessarily those clear terms, they are cracking down on many protests all around the country.
Oh yeah. But I mean, I don't know if you've seen a lot of the protests, but a lot of them have been turning violent.
Because of mainly police.
No. Actually, a lot of them have been turning violent because people start getting violent.
And people
Like
start getting violence in which
civilians
conditions
have been getting
exactly?
Like, okay, so obviously whenever there's a protest, law enforcement is almost always called to make sure that the peace is kept and no one gets hurt. Well, as soon as law enforcement gets there, or if law enforcement doesn't show up, it has become a thing to where these people start getting violent because they're like, oh, hey, the police aren't around. Let's get violent and start looting, because a lot of people out here are protesting and rioting because they want to loot. So believe it or not, like that's like the number one thing right now is people want to loot.
There are people that are like that, but have you seen a lot of protests where there was no police involved? Because I've seen some, and
yeah, I've seen a lot. Like I live over here, bud. Like there's a lot, or like they happen all the time. But the thing is like people are rioting for no fucking reason. When the protests, okay, and it depends on the subject that they're protesting about. All right. If it's a protest about, you know, something like this or something like that, it's kind of like just like a small matter. Like it's big to these people, but if it's like a small matter, they won't get violent, right? But like the whole George Floyd thing, people started protesting to like raise awareness, and then protests turned into riots. And over 90% of the people who were rioting didn't. Well, no, but listen, over 90% of the people who were rioting about the George Floyd matters weren't rioting and didn't, like, they weren't protesting or rioting because they knew the circumstances, right? Like, they didn't know George Floyd's story. They were just angry because the mob was angry and they wanted to join the mob so they could loot. And there was like thousands upon thousands of people a part of these riots that would literally tell you, I'm just here so that way when shit gets crazy, I can get me a free TV.
That's funny. I've heard very differently from the people that have participated to this protest. But don't you think they were protesting because
I got called out to them, and my neighbor alone is a security guard at one of the places that were rioted here in Arizona.
Don't you think they were protesting because George Floyd is one of the numerous black people that have been killed by black police without any good reason? in
Look,
those
no,
last
okay, look, hold on.
decades?
Hold on.
Yeah.
Hold on.
Oh, come on! I'm
I
not speaking
I
over you.
agree. I agree that the world is allowed to get angry. Okay. They're allowed to get angry at whatever the fuck they want.
Yeah.
All right. They don't have to follow a certain set of rules. If you want to get angry and you want to raise awareness, you want to do that, sure. Can you hear me?
Yeah. I'm
Hello?
listening. You don't hear me?
Hello? Hello?
I'm hearing you. I'm hearing you.
I walked too far away from my
All right.
computer. I agree people are allowed to get angry. People are allowed to protest. People are allowed to go off and do whatever they want, and they're allowed to be mad. That's what protesting is for, okay?
Yeah.
There were people out there who legitimately agree with that topic, and they legitimately agree that it is very wrong that these things keep happening because racism and stuff like that. And I agree. You're allowed to be mad about that. It's not right. We should all love each other equally, right? It doesn't matter about the fucking color of your skin. I agree. But the thing is 90% of the people who are joining these riots, all right, they don't even know George Floyd's story, and they barely even heard his name when they're in the
Where the
riot.
fuck did you get those those percentage, man?
I'm just saying, from like the people like out here in Arizona, like I'm sure over in like Chicago and shit like that, there were a lot of people who actually knew the story who were like super into it. I'm saying out here in Arizona, the ones that I have personally witnessed, all right, these people are only doing it because they want to like they want to be angry at something, and they want a free TV out of it, all right? So they literally threw a riot, a couple of them, at a couple different malls. Like the governor shut down the entire state and gave everyone a curfew at 8 o'clock, or I think it was like 7 o'clock. Everyone had to be at home and in their house unless they were working.
Yeah, but
They had to be at home by 7 o'clock,
yeah,
and they
but-
were not allowed.
so
They were
first-
allowed to leave their house.
First, you can launch the game that doesn't. I can talk politics while playing if you want.
Oh, I'm outside smoking a cigarette.
All right. Second, I would say you cannot base your understanding of how dangerous is the situation, how the state
But
respond,
you-
especially when the state
Right, but you
is the
asked,
thing
you
that is
asked-
protested
right,
against.
but you asked my standpoint on it.
Yeah, that's true.
So I was giving you my standpoint from what I personally witnessed and what I have personally like educated myself about the situation.
Have you seen the protest that happened right in front of the White House after the George Floyd
Oh, the
protest?
one that they like defaced the Lincoln Memorial.
No, but I guess this one is must be talked about a lot in certain corners of the internet that I don't recount that much. But no, the one that happened right in front of the White House, where Trump has been brought to the underground bunker, and
I think I heard something about that.
yeah, and there was a big crackdown on the peaceful protest, completely peaceful protest. I covered this after the George Floyd. I can show you some picture.
Okay, but there's out here in America,
Yeah.
if you're gonna protest, you're allowed to protest. All right.
Mm-hmm.
But the reason I believe that they're trying to take those rights, especially because they protested in front of the White House, and they're cracking down on the right to protest, and they did it right in front of the White House, and the president had to be taken to a bunker. All right.
It's because
There are
he's a
things that you
bit of a
don't-
pussy
you
that he's been taken to a bunker.
Well, kind of, yeah. I mean, but he was taken to a bunker. But the thing is there are people out there who don't like him. All right, and they would take a peaceful protest where there's a large gathering of people to take it upon themselves to make it a non-peaceful protest and take a shot at him.
But
All
don't
right,
you think?
so
Don't you
that
think
was, that was
this?
his protocol for them.
Don't you think? Yeah, but don't you think exactly that calling that eventuality by cracking down on the protest will only make more likely that that eventuality become a truth? Because obviously, if you crack down on protests when they are peaceful, people will feel like their rights are taken away from them, and they will be more violent in the future.
Well, that's the thing though, is you kind of have to pick your battles because the people who are trying to take the
Some
rights to
people don't have the
protest are the
privilege of
same people.
picking the battles.
Right. So, well, a lot of them do though. All right. The people who are
Black people,
choosing to
not that
protest.
much.
Okay, but like the people who are choosing to protest are the ones who are picking that battle. All right. They chose to remain a part of the people who decided to protest. They're choosing to do that, and that's good. Let them do that. I think protests are a good thing because it raises awareness of a situation that needs to change, and I agree with that. I have no problem with people who protest. All right. I don't go to protests because I just don't care. All right. I'm not going to go out of my fucking way or go out of my right or like go out of my way to fucking ruin my day and spend my day protesting for something. Like no matter how much I believe in it, I will silently protest from home.
You've got
All
the
right,
right to do that.
I agree with a lot of these situations, but there is a time and a place to do these things.
Yeah, but
And sometimes even if it's a peaceful protest, sometimes it is not the right time or the right place to do it. All right, because the mob mentality can turn very dangerous very quickly. All right, which is not a good mindset to have because it
mud
can
men,
go. A mob mentality is a thing, and everything can go sideways. It can start off as a peaceful
it's a
protest, and
thing.
one
Don't you
thing
see that?
happens.
It's a thing. Don't you see that the cops are constituting a mob?
Right, but most of the cops, because like I know plenty of police officer, like who are fucking like if they were off duty, they probably would have been a part of those fucking protests. All right,
Yeah, but
but
we're not talking about the individual. You're talking about a culture, and you're talking about a
no,
culture that is
no, and that's
happening, that is revealing the
that's
worst
what I
in
mean. But like
individuals.
you also have to understand the culture of being a cop. All right. So being a police officer in general, you have to understand that like a lot of these police officers don't have the ability to be like, okay, well, you know what? I don't agree with this situation, so I'm gonna quit my job. Not a lot of them have that fucking ability.
No,
Like I don't agree with this,
that's
but they're
not what
telling me I gotta go
so
stop these people.
that's not what I'm asking them to do first. And
Well,
second, I'm not
no,
talking
it's
about
you're
that.
not asking.
I'm talking
No, but
about
that's what I'm
a
saying.
mo-
Like a lot of these cops, they're scared. Okay, they're just as scared
yeah.
as everyone else, especially with the crackdown on how police are and how people want to treat police officers because people are fucking angry at the police, and it's not all police who are like that. All right, so a
I
lot of
think
these police officers. Oh, well, no, what I'm saying is a lot of these police officers are out here and they're being forced because it's their job. They're being forced to reinforce words that they don't agree with, which isn't right, but they kind of have to do it because a lot of people don't get to pick and choose their battles. This is the career path that they chose, and this career path is making them go against their morals. Some of them will quit and no longer be police officers, but a lot of them have to keep their fucking jobs to keep their fucking families. And if that's the case, then now they're having to stay on the side of the protest that they don't want to be on. All
yeah,
right, but
you're going
that
a bit
also
everywhere.
induces fear in an individual.
That induces fear in the in the individual. Don't you think that? So let's come back a bit on the main point you were making, the mob culture. So I would not, on any side, put any responsibility on individuals. I think the main component of how those things are becoming violent is the system and how the system will entertain a bad culture around those. So I think that cops are indeed afraid, but making them afraid about stuff is not helping them to deal with the situation in the right way. Now, you can argue that they have reasons to be afraid, but do they really? Have you seen the rate at which cops die? Because it's very low compared to other
Oh no, I
professions.
I agree. I agree completely. like 100%, I agree. But like where I was going with that was like, yes, cops they make bad decisions because they were trained to make those decisions,
Yeah.
and they kind of have to stick with their partners, and they're like they have to stick with their comrades and they have to stick with their peers in order to keep their livelihood most of the time. Because if they go against that, they'll lose their livelihood, and if they lose their livelihood, then they lost it for what will seem like nothing at some point to them, which is another huge fear. Is no one wants to feel like they just did something for nothing, especially something important like changing their completely changing their own lifestyle for that. But
Yeah. You know that some
I
cops did
agree with the
nonetheless.
fact that there are a lot of police officers who don't who kind of take things too far because they believe that they are
In
more
danger.
powerful, and they believe that they're in danger, or they will try justifying it. And some people are out there, like some people just want to watch the world burn. Some people are out there doing it just because they know they can, and some people are actually racist, and it sucks to say, but we have racist police officers as well.
Yeah,
And
but
it's a shitty situation, but
that's why I was talking about the system, because I don't think that having racist police officer is the most important problem. The most important problem is the system that brings them to that encourages that racism to operate in those situations, because they are trained to be scared. We tell them all the time to be scared and to defend their life at all costs, which prevent them to act in the right way, to not only defend their life, because in the end they provoke more unrest, but also defend others people's life. I think one of the goals of at least some of the organizations that are protesting for Black Lives is to release the police of matters like circulation, marijuana, drugs, and all that. And I think this is one of the greatest ideas you can implement in terms of politics, because that would ease their jobs a lot, put a lot less pressure on those people. They would also have to be way less confronted with other people in stupid circumstances, and have way less chances to get into tense situation if they don't get.
yeah.
You see what I mean? I
Oh
think
yeah, I completely
circulation,
agree.
they should stop to regulate circulation. Actually, I think should be done other way, and this would prevent some shitty encounters where things go badly. I don't know.
Oh, I agree with that completely. And like a lot of people will probably be released from prison alone from stuff as stupid and as simple as like a simple like drug charge for
Yeah,
marijuana.
yeah,
But marijuana has been the cause of an arrest that has resulted in something as shitty as, a death of an individual. Because, I mean, with how it's treated out here, it is so goddamn against the law to have an ounce of a plant that has been growing naturally for most of a fucking eternity
yeah. For
already.
most of the story of humanity,
Yeah, so it's kind of counterproductive to have like, well, it's, I guess not counterproductive, but it's kind of just ludicrous to have a law against something that has been so natural for so long, that has been
I
used
think
by generations and
I
generations.
do think it's counterproductive. I think you can say that because it's nourishing the black market, and the black market is a lot of the reason why there is a lot of illegal means, and in as soon as there is illegal means to get something, there will be some death involved, some not good shit. I don't have the word, but as soon as it's illegal, there will be some bad shit happening when that could be legal, and that would prevent a lot of yeah, the war on drugs I think is counterproductive. I think
Well, the
you can
war on
say that.
drugs was also started as a cash grab, so
Yeah, yeah, but it also started as a way to crack down on black people. Like,
actually,
have you
it,
heard
it, it
stories
was
about
it
crack?
wasn't actually it wasn't actually just cracked down on black people. It was actually cracked down on any minority.
Yeah,
So, like, it started off as weed was actually socialized with the Mexicans more than it was African Americans at first, because people always thought Mexicans were dirty, right? So when weed first started becoming illegal, when they first made it illegal, was because they were trying to gain the vote to disband it, and to do that, they had to socialize it with along the lines of something along the lines that the masses hated, and the masses at the time were primarily white, and white people in America hated Mexicans and they hated African Americans, which is not a healthy mentality. And that's been agreed upon for fucking generations and generations so far. But it was actually socialized with being a dirty, gross thing, drug, because of Mexicans and African Americans. But at
so
first, it was primarily
which drug are you
uh,
talking about specifically?
marijuana.
Marijuana? Alright.
Marijuana. And actually, African Americans are what they associated things like heroin and
Crack.
meth with
Crack
at
also.
first.
Crack also.
Um,
Have you heard the advisor of how is that president called that got the whole who almost got fired from his job, but resignated. Fuck, the one who's got the whole the whole shit where he spied on his opponents. That's called something gate. Hello?
I'm not sure.
Well, this president that some people are certainly going to replace.
Are you talking about Reagan?
No, Reagan did not do that. This is the one that is in Futurama, the main one in Futurama. That's how I find my president.
That's Ronald Reagan.
No, there is Ronald Reagan, but the main one in Futurama is the one with dark hair. Richard Nixon.
Richard Nixon, that's it. Yep.
Yeah.
That's what I was thinking of.
Yeah.
I don't know, I always get Reagan and Nixon mixed up for some reason.
Yeah, so this is the one that got the whole he spied on his main opponents, and he had to resign his presidency. And one of his advisors who had a place in his government admitted a few years back that the reason they cracked down on crack is because they saw that black people was the main users of cracks, because this is a cheap drug and black people were mainly poor and they hadn't money to get better, and so they cracked down on crack because they had more opportunity to put black people in prison. There's an entire history of many policies like that are racialized stupidly, which creates way more unrest and way more, in my opinion, legitimate argument for the minorities of your country to protest and to keep protesting, because many of them can't wait for their opportunity. They can't see a protest and think that's not the right time right now, because they have to at some point. You see what I mean?
Yeah. No, I agree.
So things could be better. and I agree that the protests are getting violent and that that it sucks. But I don't see necessarily how it's more the responsibilities of those protesters than the police and the state. In any case, it's more the state's responsibility to put those two people once against each other. This is why I'm talking about a system that's fucked up. Unless the individual that can do something about it.
Who is like, I don't like Trump per se, but I like him more than Biden.
Oh my god.
Okay.
In terms of describing how I feel about those, I would say I only dislike Biden a little less.
Yeah, so but that was the thing with like Hillary and Trump.
Yeah,
was
same shit. Dislike.
Like you kind of just gotta go for like picking the lesser of two evils.
Yeah.
And whichever one you believe is the lesser of two evils is the kind of the one you gotta go for.
Yeah, this is
to be honest, we haven't really had a good president since Kennedy.
Oh, Kennedy. Yeah, I don't know about Kennedy, so I couldn't say. I would have gone back to man.
A lot of people really liked Ronald Reagan, though.
I hate Ronald Reagan. I would have gone back to the one that was president when when World War II started. The one that gave millions of Americans a job. The one that rebuilt the economy after the crisis. The one that got elected 3 times.
Oh yeah, because he served 4 than 2.
Franklin Roosevelt.
Yeah. It'd be nice to have a Roosevelt-esque candidate now.
Yeah, I would have argued. Still argue that Bernie would have been that kind of candidate.
Bernie was more. I don't know. I didn't like Bernie, but he didn't make it very far to begin with.
Yeah, because the Democratic Party is mainly a bunch of oligarchs that, at least the leadership.
He was also more into like the socialist side of things, which here in America is like taboo.
Yeah, but you're beginning to talk about it a little more, and personally, I enjoy that. I will socialize the fuck out of your country, man. You will become communist.
A lot of people would, and a lot of people don't understand socialism, though.
Yeah, well, we've got a culture of socialism in France, so we kind of educated around socialism. Now that doesn't mean that there isn't still a lot of people that don't know shit about socialism. But yeah, I think if you listen carefully to what socialism is, there's plenty of things to be agreed upon. And I think the main thing that could be agreed upon in America right now is the socialized medicine and having a way.
There are points of it that are really good points, but there are also points of it that here in America we would tell you to go fuck yourself over.
Yeah, I know, man. Thank you. I think at least the better thing about socialist medicine is the idea that nobody should go bankrupt because he is ill.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's a reasonable.
Right, but it'll never come to pass over here because that would mean that all the really rich would get screwed.
Yeah,
because they rely on the rest of us getting poor and going bankrupt to make money.
Yeah, and that sucks. And the system is generally serving the rich way better than it's serving the poor, and that sucks. Mm-hmm. And the problem is that both parties in your country are a reflection of serving the rich.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.